Hello and welcome 13th of August. It's about 8:30 in the morning in the middle of another heat wave. It's a beautiful day today. I'm going to quickly walk you down the plot, then we'll get into the details. Right, here we go. Strawberries. Plants are looking healthy enough. The strawberry runners I took. Nice hugel culture bed, grassy knoll. Flowers looking lovely. Got your various tomatoes, sunflowers. There's tomatoes, there's tomatoes here. Right, we'll go up. That'll only get better as we go down. That'll only get better as we go down. We've got, it's actually a courgette, that. See a courgette. Beans hanging. Plenty of beans there. Tomatoes, here we go, here we go. Tomatoes. Sweet corn entering its next stage. The sweet corn developing there, and we've got the, oh, it's distributing the pollen and stuff which lands on there somehow and makes it into good sweet corn. That's the technical explanation. Oh, sunflowers there. Potatoes, pumpkin, and the tomatoes just get better as we go further in the plot. I am so glad I pruned them, took most of the branches that were required off. Potatoes, potatoes, potatoes. Here we go, sweet peas. Listen. Ready to collect some seeds there. Look at these tomatoes. Look at those. Sunflower. 5 heads on, 4 heads? 4 heads on there. Let's just appreciate that for a minute. Beautiful. Come on to them onions in a minute. Beetroot, we'll go on to them in a minute. More tomatoes. And a pumpkin. Right, let's get into the details. So first we'll get on to some onions I sowed from seed. This little bit of the plot's got a bit of a backstory. It's very weedy here. Over that side was where I had my garlic, which got white rot. So I haven't weeded this area because I didn't want to risk spreading it with my hoe. There are onions in there, believe me, and they've started to flop. They are more than ready to be plucked. I took one up the other week and they look like they're alright, but time will tell. Well, 1 minute will tell, won't we? Full disclosure, remembering the details, I have got my book. I've got my book where I write everything down, so learned that this year. Normally it's on bits of paper flying about all over the place. And sometimes I do a plot, like in one take, wandering down and remembering stuff is hard. I don't have to remember stuff. These are Elsa Craig. Sowed the seeds middle of January. Eventually I moved them out into the shed/slash greenhouse and then put them out into the plot in April. So let's get a little bit closer, listen to the sounds of onions being plucked. Well, that's not too bad at all, considering I feared I might lose them all to white rot. So where the garlic was, haven't watered this. It's been very dry. I haven't watered it. I did sow some wildflower seeds, but I didn't even water them. We've got some flowers and things happening there. That's just nature happening. Right, on to the beetroot. refers to his book. I have to remember what they're called, I have to pronounce it right. Peonaza de Guito beetroot. Sow the seeds direct into the ground in April. Let's get them up. Right, again, it's very quiet at the allotment at the minute, so let's have some sounds of beetroots being plucked out of the ground. Right, that's the last of that sowing of beetroot. I've got some more coming soon, so most of them are decent size. I have been taking these as and when. Some didn't quite make it. And we've got, let's go over here. Now look at this. I thought that was one that had gone to seed. I suspect it's not a beetroot. The reason I suspect it's not a beetroot is I have dug with my finger and it seems to be white. What on earth is this? It is a turnip? Further investigation required. Don't know how that got there. So I've got various onions and leeks that went to seed, produced some nice flowers. They're not as colourful anymore, they're starting to dry out. I've got these dotted about, they're starting to drop seeds. So I'm going to take all these out, cut the tops off, cut the heads off, put them in the shed/greenhouse for drying. Hopefully save some seeds for next year. Right, so there's my seed heads, going to dry them out a bit, collect the seeds. Those leeks had actually self-seeded from previous years, so should work. One of the onions, actually, although it had gone to seed, flowered. That onion's alright for eating. Right, now on to things I should have probably done before now, part one. So I'm above where my second early potatoes are, kestrel potatoes. Put in the ground 24th of April, so 3.5 months ago. They've all died back, I can barely see where they are. Should maybe have dug them up by now, but I only just finished eating my first early potatoes, so I didn't eat these up. So let's dig up 3 or 4, see what we've got. So about 3 kilograms of potatoes from 4 plants, about a quarter of what I've got there. Not bad, but zero effort. Well, zero, you have to put them in the ground. All I did was dig a hole, put them in, left them, didn't water them, didn't feed them. They just looked after themselves, so minimal effort potatoes. I'm just going to dig up a few plants every week, keep me going until my main crop of potatoes are ready. let's have a look at this courgette then. Nice, a fruit rond. Sowed the seeds in April, planted out in June. This is the second one I've had from this plant. It is a courgette, I promise. There we go. No, come on. There we are. Lovely. Leaves falling off. Whether we'll get any more from here or not, we've got a flower. We've got a flower. We will see. Nice, a fruit rond. Sweet peas then. First time I'm growing sweet peas this year. Sowed the seeds in January, put them out into the plot in April when they're about so high. We've had some lovely blooms. Learning as I go with these. We've got some dried out seed pods rattling, so I'm going to cut them off, save the seeds ready for planting again in January, I guess, which is only 5 months away, or I'm wishing a year away. Right, I'm going to get on with that. That'll be my last job for today, and we'll be back tomorrow. Oh, hello, it's about 4 o'clock the next day. I am back, and so is the desk. Long term subscribers may notice this desk is hanging together. Just. So the seed pods from the sweet peas, took all the seeds out. I've ended up with many more times seeds than I started with. First year growing sweet peas. So I was picking the flowers regularly. Didn't take the seed pods off, which you're probably supposed to do to promote more flower growth. So a genius move or happy accident. Left all the seed pods on, which means maybe I got less flowers in the first year, but I've got many more times seeds than I started with. Right, so that's one genius move. What I thought was a genius move. I'm growing 5 or 6 different varieties of tomato, which I marked out by using different coloured lolly sticks. So I assigned a different colour of a lolly stick to each type of tomato. Wrote them down in my book. Unfortunately, those lolly sticks have been bleached by the sun. Sure, it's the sun. Could be a bit of water as well, wash out, but I can't tell which is which. So I'm gonna bring some tomatoes back to the desk in the different varieties, hopefully, and we'll see if we can piece together, using my book and washed out colours, what the tomatoes are. Either way, we'll have a beautiful tomato display. So we're left with 3 piles. Some I knew were a yellow lolly stick, just could tell that out. They are Black Russian, so they're darker, that makes sense. Green, Avocado, okay, that's fine, I could tell them. There's 3 different plants, couldn't tell what colour the lolly stick was. They are unknown. I know they're not Money Maker because they were pink lolly sticks. I know they're not Gardener's Delight because they were blue lolly stick. Because my Money Maker and Gardener's Delight are germinated outside. They're smaller plants, they're in a different area. So these are either, well, they're not Black Russian, you can tell that. They could be Avocado, or they could be Elsa Craig, which were a purple lolly stick, by the way. Doesn't really matter in the end. I'm not even going to guess. So, tomatoes, all good. Let's pluck some carrots. You can see my disappointment there. Carrots then, Amsterdam forcing carrots. Sowed the seeds in February. They were in the greenhouse, they were all doing fine, they're big and green and nice. Then it maybe got too hot for them. I have no excuse with carrots. Sweet peas, first year growing them, I'm learning. Tomatoes, second year of growing them. My crop this year is 10 times as good as last year. learning all the time how best to treat your plants. Carrots, I don't even look into it. I've got no excuse. Maybe I want them to be my nemesis. Either way, let's pluck these out the ground, see how small they are. So they're not going to get any bigger. They've been like this for a while. Oh! Oh dear me. Oh dear me. Why bother? Why bother? At least they haven't got any diseases. Maybe if I bring them really close to the camera we can pretend that they're big. Let's see if this pot's any better. Oh, slightly longer. Edible, that's as much as you can say. Extreme close up. And now on to things I should definitely have done before now. Part 2. My green beans. Blue Leek green beans. Sowed the seeds direct into the soil. First week of May. You're supposed to keep regularly picking beans. So it encourages the plant to grow more. For some reason, I can't explain, I've only picked one portion of beans from this plant a few weeks back. I've just left it. There's just beans everywhere. Some are bigger than others. You know, whether they're too dry, not as juicy anymore, I don't know. I have no excuse. I'm going to pick all the beans on the plant and we'll do some bean analysis. So after 30 minutes, I've got my pile of beans. Anyone who's grown beans before will know there's not a chance on earth I've got every bean. I've got most of the beans. So a lot of beans here. For the details, we need a specialist bean counter. So here I am, I'm the official bean counter. Shout out to all of the bean counters out there. I think you should dress for the part. I've got a pen, I've got a notepad, I've got everything. But first of all, I'm just glad that my bean frame that I put up, I just popped it up in about 20-30 minutes. I'm glad that survived the wait. What weight are you asking? Well, 5.25 kilograms of beans in this single picking. I did maybe pick one portion of beans before, like I said, but over 5 kilograms of beans. How many beans is that, you ask yourself? Well, I took 3 batches of 400 grams of beans. Those 400 grams of beans on average had 47 beans in them. One bean, not the individual beans. Bean, that is one bean. So using that maths of those 3 sample sizes of 400 grams of beans, average of 47 beans per 400 grams, I get about 620 beans in this pile from that picking. Limitations to the analysis. Maybe if I'd have picked more regularly there would be more beans. Maybe if I had picked more regularly the beans would be smaller, as I wouldn't have let them get to this size. So my analysis is that one argument outweighs the other, and yes, I've still got 5.25 kilograms of beans. Right, so just over £1 for the packet of beans that I planted, and this is how much you get. If you look at the price of beans in shops these days, price of food's gone up lately, hasn't it? Now, for frozen beans, it's £1 per kilogram. For fresh beans, it's £3.50 per kilogram. So, look, I've done some analysis on how much my allotment cost a few years back. It's my biggest viewed video, so check that out if you haven't. But look, if you haven't grown beans before and you can grow beans, grow beans. They are by far, I have found, the amount of effort you put in and the cost to put in, the amount of produce you get and your cost saving if you're to buy them in the shops is just the best. That is my bean analysis. Chili update coming soon. Back to the allotment. Some great bean counting and analysis there. Oh, I've forgotten how much I love this desk. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching. Click subscribe. Send me a comment. See you next time. Cheers.